The Doll Festival arc of Gachiakuta is reaching its conclusion with the massive godlike and destructive fight between MYMO and Rudo has finally reached seemingly the climax, as a massive twist towards the end of this fight seems to be changing what this arc is going to lead into. Will we get a last minute save within the upcoming chapters, or will MYMO actually find his shimmering light to come out on top and defeat Rudo and have his maniacal plans continue going on in the future? And that's what we're going to jump into today. And yes, I am going to start talking about Gachiakuta on the channel for the time being whenever there's a chapter, because the video I did, 40 minutes by the way, of me going over the most recent events of the manga over the last couple of chapters was honestly did pretty well so far, and so I just want to keep that train going. And now that Gachiakuta is back with chapter 163, we are going to jump right into things. Though I will be talking about chapter 162.2 or 162 part 2, because that is the most recent chapter that came out when that big video was done and released. So I'm going to go over that and then jump on into chapter 163 and talk about that. Before we jump into these chapters, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell and hype up the video to boost us in the algorithm to show that you guys not only enjoy the videos I make here on the channel, you want to see me do more Gachiakuta in the future. It helps boost it in the algorithm so that more Gachiakuta fans will jump on over here to see and join the discussions for the manga as well. And if you want to discuss more stuff outside of anime and manga, go and check out my second channel, GW Comics, where I talk about American comic books. Right now, I'm very big on DC, but I am going to be talking about the new DCU, live action shows and movies, and the MCU every chance I get, because that's also comic book related. It's a passion project of mine, and I really appreciate if you guys go and check it out whenever you get the chance. Link to that will be in the description down below and the title card up above. But with that out of the way, let's jump right into Gachiakuta, starting with chapter 162.2. And we'll begin previously from chapter 162.1, where Rudo and MYMO's fight just goes into the town, and we see the old man just getting dragged away as this fight is ensuing in the spiraling chaos. Rudo and MYMO continuously push around throughout this entire venue and the town surrounding it, back and forth, as MYMO is continuously trying to get Rudo to distrust the cleaners after revealing the bombshell that a cleaner, we all know to be Tamsi, killed Recto and set the events of this manga into motion. And so he's trying to continuously get into Rudo's head, saying how they're wary of them, how they're not prying because they view him as dangerous and they might want to use him in the future, as he is literally trying to use psychological warfare on Rudo. But luckily, Gauntis is connected to Rudo through the special choker that he created and is continuously talking to Rudo, using his words and logic and knowledge that he has to keep Rudo's mind centered and focused on MYMO, while disproving all of the lies and twistings of truth and misinformation that MYMO is trying to use against Rudo to cause him to spiral and not trust his friends. As Gauntis says, yeah, no, they trust you. They just don't want to pry because it's kind of an unspoken rule amongst misfits like them. They do genuinely like Rudo, and they genuinely view him as a comrade and a friend. And they trust him because of who he is and who they truly see him as. And yeah, Rudo fully believes Gauntis, and that keeps his mind centered and focused, pushing away from MYMO. But MYMO still tries to tell him that, oh, your words aren't going to matter because a strong spear is still going to burst a strong shield at the end of the day. But then he looks down at Rudo after slapping him away, as Rudo seems bigger than before and a lot more wolfish, as Rudo then lunges up forward, slashing MYMO across the chest, blood gushing out from him, as it shows that Rudo has gotten stronger. The words of Gauntis rousing Rudo's spirits and the connection between their Watchmen series is definitely what is making Rudo so much more powerful and continuously growing in strength, which MYMO is kind of at a loss for words at this point, and so he begins a strategic retreat, which he surprisingly just shouts out for everyone and anyone to see, as Rudo ends up seeing MYMO running away, because MYMO wants to run away, gather his strength and intel, and then have them let their guard down so he can strike when the moment is right. But instead, Rudo sees him flying over, lands down in front of MYMO, and has a nice, well-placed uppercut on MYMO, lunging him spiraling into the air. And Rudo then jumps into the air and then punches MYMO straight into the ground, crashing into the earth. Now, MYMO is trying to be like, hey, Rudo, please don't kill me, alright? You're going after a guy who doesn't have any will to fight, who's running away. What are you, some kind of animal? Is this really what the ground has done to you? But Rudo tells him to stop talking and begins to name Gauntus's parents, his friends, the Dollfest, the town, humans, and Zonka. Do you remember what you did to them? With Rudo looking down menacingly at MYMO like a true force of vengeance, a true monster, completely in silhouette with the rage being the only light of his eyes, looking down on MYMO. As MYMO then gets a look back at what he did to Zonka previously after turning into what he is, and we see that he does get a bit of a look in his eye as Rudo says it's payback time. And in a 2-page spread, Rudo punches MYMO straight through the chest as the ground begins to crumble. And that ends chapter 162.2, taking us right to chapter 163, titled Sixth Sense, as we see the people in the town walking with a boot clunking on the ground. As we then get a flashback to the previous chapter, as this is Gauntus hearing what's going on with the fight, as he says that it sounds like they're getting closer. As Rudo breaks through the ground after hitting MYMO, he sees, and in a really cool double page spread, a massive underground parking lot for everybody. As Rudo's wondering what's going on, saying that so that's what was underneath here. But he doesn't see MYMO. But he just says, you just don't know when to quit, MYMO. But then Gauntus looks like he's seen a ghost. Utter fear and shock overcome his face. As Gauntus immediately understands what MYMO is up to. As MYMO begins to talk so that Rudo and Gauntus could hear, saying, I was never cut out for battle. Even with an upgraded body, that fact hasn't changed. All I could do was change venues without the beast catching on. Obviously he's talking to Gauntus as we hear noise, as we see Gauntus staring at a door, with Gauntus realizing something, telling Rudo that he messed up. And we get another 2-page spread as we build up the tension, with MYMO creeping open the door to where Gauntus is, saying, yes, you did. You had given up on ever being rescued, and Rudo assumed that you were too far away, so he decided to save you later. You both messed up. Too bad, really. As Rudo is beginning to hear the noise in the background thanks to his hidden hearing, as MYMO says, a simple question, where is Gauntus, could have saved you from this outcome. As Rudo looks over as the top of a truck that we see is ripped open, as Rudo lunges forward and now sees MYMO. As we see the Watchman series necklace that Gauntus had jingling, being held in his mouth, with MYMO saying, thank you for your help. I now have my own piece of the Watchman series. MYMO completely destroyed, no arms, and he's completely obliterated, looming over Gauntus, holding his Watchman necklace. As Rudo and Gauntus look over, realizing what MYMO said previously, saying that he wants a part of the Watchman series, and instantly know that, they really did fuck up. This was what MYMO wanted. Him speaking out loud in the previous chapter about doing a strategic retreat and regrouping, he wanted them to hear that so they would think that he was panicking and running away. With Rudo realizing that it was all a ploy to get here. It was all an act. But MYMO says, what made you think I wouldn't put on an act? Solid question. MYMO has been a liar and a showman the entire time. Him connivingly sneaking his way to make some kind of grand plan or misdirection does make sense. But in the fight, he was getting completely decimated, and it would be believable for MYMO to just like start to run away and panic. But still, it is an interesting thing to go about considering MYMO's whole personality. MYMO goes on to say, "What made you think I wouldn't bring Countess with me everywhere? When something is useful, it's more convenient to keep it on hand, no?" And yeah, that makes sense. So many of us just thought Countess was in some underground bunker ever since his introduction, ever since we learned about MYMO, his plans, and more of Countess's backstory. When he first got revealed, we thought he was in some underground workshop or something locked away by MYMO, but no. MYMO kept Countess close. He set him up in a mobile truck so that he would bring him to the Doll Festival as a precaution for whatever reason. And now we see his last resort that he probably didn't have planned initially, but it's like, you know what? Good thing I planned to bring Countess with me to steal the necklace from Countess as a last resort so he can have the Watchmen series for himself. But after seeing what's going on, Countess screams out to Rudo, telling him to kill MYMO right now. Do it before he can use the Watchmen series in this instance. And kill me if you have to in order to get to him. This is the only shot we have. But MYMO talks over him saying, "Oh no, this is your first in-person meeting. You have to treasure these moments." And so MYMO, looking over and more dark energy coursing through him as he's seemingly beginning to activate the necklace, says, "Rudo, if you move, I will kill Countess." And that is where the chapter ends. Gachiakuta is still amazing. This arc has been going on for about a year now, and it is still one of my favorite reads every week this comes out. Kei Urana is cooking with this arc, and the back and forths that we have gotten feel so satisfying and so well thought out that you have no idea genuinely what will happen next. Will Rudo be able to save Countess, or will MYMO get away with a piece of the Watchmen series to plan again, still in this somewhat unstable, beyond human godly form? And that's what I'm curious to see what's going on next week. Though I do have a theory that Rudo might not be able to do something in this instance, but an unexpected ally will show back up. It's one of two people. Either A, it'll be 2 Lily showing back up so that she can help Countess and save her childhood friend and potentially lifelong love, or it will be Hyo. We saw her earlier in this arc a few chapters ago as August was with one of the festival show planners, I think, going into the back, and we saw that Hyo, who was just waiting in the waiting room as security, managed to take out MYMO's lackeys and stop them from detonating bombs to destroy the entire Dollfest arena, and literally did it effortlessly. And we did get that little clunk at the beginning of this chapter, chapter 163, of a boot. So, for all we know, this could, in fact, be Hyo walking through town and potentially realizing that there is a massive fight going on and makes her way to the underground garage so that she ends up last minute saving Countess and Rudo and stopping MYMO's plans. But that is just my theory on what could potentially happen going forward to help with this arc's whole conclusion. This series is very hard to predict, and this arc also gives a shit ton of world building and amazing fights and vital instruments and a very shocking and messed up backstory, while also having a heartwarming beginning for Countess and a despicable villain in MYMO. So I cannot predict what's happening next, and I'm here for the ride to see whatever Kei Urana is cooking up next. But you guys let me know in the comment section down below what you believe is going to happen in Gachiakuta going forward, and how do you think Rudo is going to get out of this situation, and what will happen with MYMO. Let me know, and once more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell and hype the video up to boosting the algorithm to show you guys enjoy me making these Gachiakuta videos and want to see me talk about this series more every single week. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.